Alrighty, this is going to be a quick guide, White Mage PoV for Chaotic. I'll try to go over some of the, or at least most of the mechs. This is using the slightly updated raid plan that PF was originally using. I'll just include it in the description. But for phase, I guess what people are calling 1, some people call it 1, some call it 2. Those mechs are all pretty random, so... But I think most of them always happen, so I'll try to cover all of those. But let's just start the video here and we'll get into it. But yeah, I'll go over every single mech just as we see it here in this video. This is just a random clear in PF. As you get in, the first thing people are going to do is light parties, which isn't really anything too surprising. You'll have LP1 and LP2, so people will throw down markers. You'll be either on the north side of your group or the south side of your group. So we've got Group A here, Group B down the middle, and then Group C here on the right. In this kill, I am part of Group A. Since I'm a pure healer, I kind of just default to Healer 1, so the north group. I mean, I haven't had anybody try to fight me for it as a pure healer. All of the shield healers have just defaulted to H2. I don't know if you'll run into that situation. With this raid plan that we're using, that would actually affect quite a big deal what you do during the fight, as this raid plan has H1 staying outside and H2 stays or goes inside. But this is from the H1 perspective, so I'll be outside for everything until after the swap towards the end of phase 3. So let's just kind of get into it. So I'm H1 here, LP1. These matter for one of the pretty early mechs. There's just light party sacks. Other than that, that's the main reason for this, but it does also determine like where if you're R2 or R1, you know, you have different like spread positions. So you will want to know if you're LP1 or LP2 if you are not a healer and you're watching this. So this is basically what some people are calling the phase 3 transition. So the 4 squares here in the middle are the 4 groups of 3 that will be inside, and then the 2 ones, we've got the A over here and the C over here. These are the 6 people that will be outside. A lot of people will kind of do their spread positions around the markers while we're lining up just to ensure. See how we've kind of got like this nice little like C formation going on. It's kind of like clock spreads. So I'm assuming Kira here was yeah, he's a ninja, so he's M2. Like, he is my partner for pairs. Like, basically, these are our spread positions, and if we get the pair mechanic, we kind of just merge with the person next to us. That makes sense. But we'll get to that, and I'll explain it there a little better, hopefully. And then you'll see our other 2 party members from Alliance A are actually over here on 4. So this is H2 and the off tank. And then the main tank is in our group. I don't know what he's doing up there, but he would be across from me. So that's all of the setup for this fight, just so everybody knows where to go and what position they are. Maybe I can actually skip ahead here a little bit. Too much prep? How much prep do we need? I'm sure there was something going on in chat, but we've got the chat blocked in this video. The people do put markers down for this fight. I've seen like a billion different types of markers. It doesn't seem to be anything standardized. These are probably actually some of the worst markers I've ever seen in any PF group. But there's pretty much no mechanics in this entire fight that you really would need markers for. The only thing I'd say it's maybe kind of helpful for some people is during, I don't know if people are calling it phase 1 or phase 2 at this point. I'll mention it when we get there, but each alliance has to kind of spread out. The boss will shoot a line through the entire group. So like A will be here on the left, B would be in the middle, and like C would be on the right. So a lot of PF markers have markers for that, where the groups should be. I don't think it's particularly necessary, but that's probably the most common markers I've seen. I have no idea what these are supposed to be. But as we start pulling here, some people were calling this phase 1. but to be honest, it's only 3 mechs. So there's only 3 possible things the boss does here. It's either going to be an out or an in, and you need to go to one hand. Okay, so this one, she's drawing power to herself. She's got one hand out, so this means you're going to go under her hand. It could be the left hand or it could be the right hand. This is one of the 3 possibilities, and then she's going to do one of the other 2 that she hasn't done yet. There's a little bit of white mage optimization here. I hold Glare Force for movement, basically. So both of these are in. Unfortunately, I can't show the out. Even more white mage optimization, I usually use Lilybell here, either on the first hit. If the first hit is an out, I actually just stand in it. I just drop Lilybell and just eat it. So my melee or my Picto can just greet all the damage. They don't have to worry about movement. And I pre-drop Lily on the second one, in case the second one isn't out, and I still stand in it if it is. Because, honestly, I don't feel like I need Lilybell during any of this phase right here. Let me actually pause, because we're kind of like missing what that mech is. While I'm sitting here yapping about optimization, that's not really as important. But yeah, I don't think Lilybell is needed until phase 3, so I just kind of waste it here. But anyway, boss does a raid wide. Some people were calling this phase 1. I don't think this warrants its own phase. It's literally 2 mechs and a raid wide. So we'll continue to call this phase 1, I guess. So this is where things get a little more interesting, because it's basically RNG which mech she does, but it's usually like an order of operations. Like, she'll do a random mech, and then she'll do the clouds, and then she'll do like a random mech, and then like more clouds. So there's definitely some RNG here, so I'll just go over the ones that we get. I don't know if there's any that we didn't get, but I can try to explain those, or see if I have another video. I have another clip. Oh wait, no I don't. This is actually the only clip that includes phase 1 that I have. So, Grim Embrace, she does this twice. Let me actually show the first one again. So she targets everybody with either the first one or second one. And if I can get a better angle, maybe I get a better angle on the second one. That's kind of a better angle. Okay. And that's me tethered? No, it's tethered to the first one. So it doesn't really matter which one you're well, it does. But as long as you know what one of them is, you know what both of them are. So in this case, you'll see I'm not tethered. But what the boss is doing here is she's either holding up her palm towards this crystal. I think it's actually your character in the crystal. But she's holding up her palm to the crystal, like she's gonna push it over, or she's got her hand like behind the crystal. It's hard to explain. This one I had trouble like understanding for a little bit. Let me see if I can see the other version. So she does this is the back one. Okay, yeah, see, she's kind of, it's hard to see here. She's got her palm kind of like going under the crystal. Kind of like, I don't know, she's doing like the really evil thing, you know? It's hard to explain. But this means, this either means that you need to basically move backwards or forwards when the mechanic happens. You're gonna get like a timer, and you'll see the thing on your head before it happens. You'll know to get out and get away from people. But I'll show you my version. Maybe actually I'll skip ahead and show you my version just so we can kind of get this mechanic knocked out. But she targets me first with this one, and this one means back. So as far as that goes on Legacy, when I say back, that means I need to be looking one direction, and as the mechanic is about to resolve, I want to walk backwards. Now on Legacy, that can be a little tricky to execute, because if you turn around too quickly, you're basically baiting this line away from yourself and then trying to get out of it in time. If you don't get out of it in time, you actually get doomed, and you need to get Asuna'd. On Legacy, it's a little tricky. I actually learned that if you play on Legacy and you play on mouse and keyboard, if you still have left strafe and right strafe bound to something, actually bound them to the arrow keys. So I would have to take my hand off my mouse to even do this, but I could hold left and right arrow and then hold S on my keyboard, and I can actually still walk directly backwards, even though I play on Legacy. But I've got the timing down now. I've done it enough at this point. especially as a healer where I can just assume to myself if I actually messed up, so I don't really care that much. Um, but you'll see. But in this case, I got back, so that means I'm going to have to look forward, and then I'm going to bait a line AoE essentially in front of me, and I need to walk backwards to get out of it. So anywhere I go to try and not hit people is, you're always going to pretty much go to the edge of the map, and you're trying to bait the line basically away from people. So let me actually skip ahead just to kind of show how this one mechanic resolves real quick. Let me see what my timer is, 40 seconds. So if I skip ahead to about 10 minutes into the fight, so here we go. So I've got 6 seconds on my timer, and you'll see I've got these little, like, the counting down dice thing on my screen. So I'm running out to the edge. I'm greeting DPS because it's me. So you'll see I'm actually facing left. I'm hitting A on my keyboard. The timer is getting down to 1. And as soon as basically it triggers, you'll see I just got heavied. I'm going to hit right. So actually, I just start hitting right here because I know the snapshots happened. You see I bait a line to my left and I start walking right. So this is actually the harder one of the two, honestly, is the back one, especially if you play Legacy. So if I got the other version of forward, it's actually even easier because you could just stand right here facing right and you could just hold right the whole time because it gets baited behind you. If you get the forward one, you don't even have to think about it. You literally just walk forward the whole time until it resolves and you just won't get hit. The hardest part of this mechanic is honestly just remembering which one you had, because it was like, sometimes it was like a minute ago. It's like, oh, I've just completely blanked out during the fight and don't remember which one I had. But mechanically, it's either you just walk straight ahead or you get the harder one like I got here, where you have to basically change directions. So I go to the side, I'm going to look to the left, because I play on Legacy I can do that, and then I walk right to get out of it. So that's the harder one, that's the backwards one. But let's actually skip back into the fight, since we did actually skip some mechanics. So this is something that's stored, you kind of just gotta remember. If I just pause here for a second, you'll see I have a 37 seconds on mine. Some people have over a minute until theirs is even gonna happen. Like, honestly, the hardest part is just remembering which one you were. So this next mechanic, you'll say that the cloudlets are manifesting. This is mostly just you finding a safe square. So let's let the mechanic actually start happening here. So you see these lasers are charging. You basically just want to be in one of the squares that doesn't have a laser charging. And then the ones on my left are also going to do the same thing. So you see those are spinning. These two over here are spinning. So the only really thing you need to think about to resolve this is, I don't even think about it, I just look at the floor. I just know this is the safe square. I look at the floor, and you'll see the lasers go off. You want to move into them as they go off. So I move into this one, I move into this one, and as soon as you've basically dodged into the safe square, you move twice, and you're pretty much good after that. The boss is going to do another mechanic. So she's channeling arrow here. This is actually one of like a few different things you can get. So in this case, arrow is a knockback, and if you go into the knockback blue circle, which is pretty familiar from a lot of other fights, you will die, and people die from it all the time. Honestly, arrow is probably one of the more dangerous ones. Don't do what I did here and almost move into the laser. Lasers are still going off. You kind of gotta give it a second. But you see the arrow spawning here, so the safe spot's gonna be a little bit past like these squares here on the floor. Yeah, see, it's like right here-ish. You've got time to adjust. But like, I just went to the middle of the square because like I couldn't remember the exact safe spot. But I just scoot over here, and you get knocked back. You want to get knocked back into that corner, so you basically just go directly east or west. I guess south is probably fine too. But so here's me resolving my Grim Embrace from the beginning of the phase. Now she's going to do another mechanic. In this case, it's Rapid Sequence Particle Beam, which is the group stacks. So this is a wild charge. You want to make sure both tanks are in front of everybody. The party A is on the left, party B will be over here in the middle, and party C will be all the way on the right. I thought these were healer baits, kind of like EX3, That doesn't appear to be the case. We had like a random like red mage in our A group yesterday, and we took 2 and died immediately. So this is not healer baited. I thought it was. But yeah, just heal and through this. Nothing too crazy. It's just going to be, I think it's 3 or 4 hints. More of these doom things will go off. I was kind of hoping somebody got doomed, and you'll see it. One mechanic I didn't explain throughout this fight, since this was kind of a white mage PoV, but does kind of matter, at least for me to think about, is that there are tank swaps during this. So as tanks are tanking, you'll see our main tank here has 5 lightning debuffs. As this number gets higher and higher, especially if tanks are not swapping, you will have to do a lot of tank healing. I've actually done way more tank healing in this fight than I have done in Savage the entire tier, which is kind of crazy how much tank healing I've had to do throughout this whole chaotic raid, which, I mean, is honestly kind of a nice change of pace. But yeah, just something to think about. You're definitely going to have to keep an eye on your tank's HP throughout all these. So we're doing the cloudlets again. Same thing we did before, going to a safe square. We're dodging into the next 2 that shoot. Then we can kind of chill. She's going to do another mechanic here. Honestly, I actually skipped a mechanic. Let's like rewind like 2 seconds. It's at least, I just want to at least mention it. I honestly don't pay that much attention to it, even when it's going on. Where did it even happen? That's how little I paid attention. Let's find it. So we did the arrow. It must be after this. So she actually will store an arrow or a death, and then she does it again later. And honestly, that's how little I pay attention to it. I didn't even pay attention to it here. So here it is. She stored an arrow. So that's just something to be aware of. I honestly generally don't pay attention to what she stored, because I don't even think it matters. It's not really something I need to really remember. People usually call it out though in the raid. Somebody's usually like death stored or knockback stored or pull-in stored or whatever. But honestly, I don't pay that much attention because I'm gonna hit knockback immunity here and not actually care. So we'll get back to that spot. It'll be right after these cloud dodges. So yeah, looking for the safe spot, looking for the safe spot. We're going to dodge into the first 2 shots, and then she's going to do the hand thing. She's always done she always does a safe hand spot. I don't think this is ever the out. I've never seen it be an out. But don't make sure you don't go in the hand early, because the lasers are still going off. Once this last laser goes off, we all go into the hand. Around here-ish, I'm going to hit knockback immunity. So this is why I'm pretty much not paying attention to what she stored. I'm kind of just looking at the orb. Because if it's a death orb, you need to walk into it. So, just so you know what they are, if you get death earlier in the fight, arrow is the knockback, death is the opposite, it's pulling you in and you don't want to get pulled in. So you do the opposite. Instead of like standing here and getting pushed out here, you actually go out here and get pulled, and you don't want to get pulled all the way into the circle because it's going to do, there's going to be like a circle AoE in the middle, but it's actually an in-out. So you want to get pulled towards the death, you want to wait for the death, you'll see the snapshot, like the circle will go off, and then you will need to move into the circle after it goes off. So it's actually a little more complicated than arrow. Unfortunately, we didn't get it in this run. We got another arrow. So in this case, I'm hitting knockback immunity, I'm looking at the orb, you see the arrow orb spawn, don't go in it or you die. But yeah, I'm just hitting knockback immunity and then ignoring it. So if I saw it was the death orb, it's kind of like a purple, black kind of orb that spawns in the middle. If I see that one, I kind of just move towards it, because I'm going to need to walk into it after it explodes. But if it's arrow, I don't even want to go anywhere near it. So I always use knockback immunity here. And I think that's the best thing to do, because honestly, you don't need to pay attention to which one she stores. It doesn't really matter too much. The main thing is just not walking into the arrow and killing yourself if she does that one. Because you will get knocked off or you die. The death one, if you mess up that one, you just get a damage down. It's not even like a It's like a 20-second damage down. It's not the end of the world. People have cleared with like 60 plus damage downs. And you get Doom. Just pray your healers Asuna you. Something that I keep telling people when I kind of notice they don't know. As a healer on this fight, nobody in my group messed up, so nobody got Doom at any point. But something I kind of reiterate that all healers should do. If you get multiple people doomed at the same time, as healer 1, I always prioritize cleansing people from top to bottom. And healer 2 should always prioritize cleansing people from bottom to top. That way there's never really any confusion. Like if 2 people get doomed, you only have time to cleanse one of them. So if 3 people get doomed, one of them's dead. And we want to make sure that the healers don't cleanse the same person, or then we just end up with extra people dead. So that's what I always tell people to do. But the last little hand grim things are going to go off. She's doing another mech. In this case, it's flare. So 3 people get flares. As a group A, if I got the flare, I would just go all the way to the left side of the map into that corner. Everybody else just stacks under the boss. This usually does quite a bit of damage too. I actually really hate it when we get flare at the end of the fight here. Just the way my lilies and stuff line up on white mage, it usually forces GCD heals out of me, where I generally have not GCD'd yet in this fight. So this is a raid wide. This is when the fight gets spicy. So we go back to the original platforms, and then she's gonna do all this fancy stuff. And this is where all the raid plans and stuff, this is where everything deviates. There's different raid plans for a million different things, like having all the healers stay out. There's COD car. There's like the regular raid plan. This is like the slightly better explained raid plan that we're doing in this group. So since I'm A and I'm healer 1, I want to be in this square here on the left. Healer 2 is going to go basically down here to my southeast. This is where I drop Lily usually, because there's a dot with that raid wide. And we're going to start fighting this ad. We can't really hurt the main boss in the middle anymore. If you're in the middle, you fight the main boss. Everybody else just fights the ads. And your ad damage gets sent to the boss at the end of this. So next, this ad is going to store 3 things. It's either she holds up her hand. If you've done E9, I think it's E9, you'll probably recognize them. So she holds up her hand to either the left or the right. That means she's going to do like a half room cleave on that side. If she holds up both hands and they both glow at the same time, that means you need to do a buddy pair stack. In this strat, I would be baiting as the healer. So these are actually baits on 3 people. So I would be standing closest to her with my melee behind me. And the other thing she could possibly do is a spread, which is kind of just like a glowing aura around her. And I would just be spreading south here as H1. So let's see what she gets, because honestly, I don't even remember. Oh yeah, there's a raid wide there too. Forgot about that. Alright, so she's cleaving on the left. She's cleaving on the left again. And then that's buddy pairs. That's pretty easy. I have a feeling my buddy pair... No, he did it right. Okay, so I'm taking the bait here. These guys messed up. So this is the buddy pairs, and you'll see 1 DPS is on the left, 1's on the right. I think he was just assuming they were going to take the buddy pair on this side because both of her cleaves were on the left. I think that's what this guy assumed, that they would just stay there instead of crossing all the way over for the buddy pair stacks. So just some miscommunication on their end. But you'll see I'm taking 1 hit here, the tank is baiting the other one, and then these guys are getting themselves killed. So yeah, there's him trying to cross over. They both get killed because they actually both ended up taking a bait. So the tank didn't even get hit. They didn't get their bait. And immediately after that, there's towers to soak. In this strat, I'm soaking either the west tower or the south tower. The unfortunate thing is, the range were supposed to be one of them in each tower. So we kind of screwed this up. We have 2 people in each tower, which means both these towers are going to explode. Honestly, one of us should have just adjusted. so at least one tower didn't explode. But we messed up and blew up both towers. So you'll see a ton of raid damage happens because 2 towers get messed up. I mean, we don't die, we can survive through it. I usually pop mitt here. It looks like that's the only mitt we actually have, is my mitt. So we survive. The entire raid is going to get 2 vuln stacks. It's really not too big a deal, other than it's going to make tank healing a lot worse for like a minute or two. I don't actually know how long this vuln is, but it's over a minute. So tanks are definitely going to need a lot more love for a bit. So I got to get both of my ranged back up. That kind of griefed us a little bit here. So this is kind of why some strats I'm kind of liking the 6 healers thing. Can I go back a second? Because honestly, I skipped the Atomos. So this little purple orb here, ads will spawn on these that you have to kill sometimes. They kind of just drain people that are nearby them. It's not really something I actually don't even worry about as a healer. I just let the DPS deal with it. Like, I know, like, Picto Hammer one-shots them, so they just need to die. If you see them up as a healer, sure, I guess just nuke them. I've literally never nuked one myself. But the thing I just wanted to point out was that this is a little teleport pad, which will let you get back in the middle. So if somebody dies in the middle, I can res them. They can use this to go back in the middle. The problem with this fight is that if someone on the outside dies, the healers on the inside cannot res you. Because if they res you, you pop up in the middle with them, and they're doing like the tile thing where like only one person can be on each tile. There's no way to get back out. So that's why I kind of like the strat of all of the healers just staying out and not doing the middle tiles at all. But that's not what this group was doing. So like my co-healer here, he cannot help me res these people. I have to, it's my responsibility to get both of these people up. I'm the only one that can do it. We don't even have another reser in this party. So like the only other healer that's outside is in group C on the complete opposite side of the map. Because there's like 4 healers in the middle. So it pretty much just lies on me to get these people up. But I'm kind of expecting the healers out strat to become more of like a PF norm, just for safety, personally. Because like if these 2 ranged hadn't died, say my co-partner, in this case a melee, had made a mistake and got me killed, it would have gotten ugly really quickly. The C healer would have to essentially run all the way around on this track and res me outside, and then go all the way back to his team. And he'd have to leave his co-healer, who's actually inside, solo healing until he gets back. Like, it's a bit messy. But anyway, let's get back to it. I think we skipped kind of the next mech. So the tower goes off. The boss is gonna do either a donut or like a plus sign through the arena. In this case, it's a plus sign. You can kind of tell because, let's go back a tiny bit, just a tiny bit. You can tell a couple ways. The main thing is there'll be either like a circle of clouds around her, or it's kind of like in a square pattern. And in the square pattern, you can kind of see these little like lightning bolt things coming off of them, off the like corners as well. I just want to show that part. There we go. So you see these little like lightnings that appear. They're kind of like appearing like this way and this way. I didn't pause it. Well, you can see it flashing. Basically, we just come up to here next to this portal and we'll be safe. And whichever one she doesn't do is the one she's going to do next when she does that mechanic again. So here she's going to curse everybody. This is when everybody needs to look at their debuffs. Everybody outside will get one of these. Oh, I lied. You people don't? Oh, they got the seed. I actually didn't realize that if you get the seed, you don't get the gaze. But what these mean, you're going to shoot like a laser beam out of your face. So you just have to face it away, and you can hit the people in the middle and grief them. So you want to shoot it to the outsides of the arena. So I got it at 6 seconds, which means mine's like about to go off. So you'll actually see it here in a second. I'm just healing people up. I'm greeting DPS, of course. But there we go. I almost shoot Lala because he kind of ran pretty far out. Here are the seeds. 2 people will get seeds. You'll be dropping them on the outside kind of on the corners of the square. I usually don't go that far because it makes it harder to like walk out here. There are the rare occasions you can get 3 on one side. In that case, the third person would drop it kind of like here-ish, so that there's room to get to this one and this one. And if that did happen, I would be baiting the 5th one as the healer. I would let the tank stay on the boss because the tank has to interrupt the ad at the same time. So I would be taking the 5th bait, but otherwise, I don't really do anything here. I'm basically just pre-positioning. So since we got the that cross, like the star, like the plus sign thing where she hit through the arena, I know the next one is going to be a donut, which means we kind of want to just stand next to the main boss right here on the edge of this wall. I'm just pre-positioning just AFK here. But see, they're going to drop these little bramble patterns, which the DPS handle, you don't really need to think about. As a healer, you would only need to worry about it if we got an extra one for whatever reason. And it seems like it's really rare. Like, I don't know if it's a mistake or what. My tank actually gets terrorized here. He got hit by the donut. Oops. More gazes go off directly after that donut. And those are the ones that pretty much always catch people. I'm also guilty of it. I completely forget that some of those go off like right after that donut or star cross. And if you laser somebody that's on the outside, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, I can heal them through it. It's just damage, it's a damage dot. But the people in the middle, it can catch them off guard, I think. But now, kind of just like E9, I think, the DPS are going to stand next to their puddles and bait them, so they're going to get like a tether on them, and then they have to run away and break the chain. As the healer or the tank, we kind of just stand usually away from them all, either like out here on the wall on the left, or just directly here in the middle of all of them. As long as we don't get the bait, it's fine. We kind of just AFK here. We still have 2 vulns from those towers a billion years ago, so I'm actually like casting regen on my tank. The tank needs to interrupt the ad here. That's why I'd rather do the bait than him if we really had to do another one. Everybody's breaking their tethers. We're going to get another mechanic here. So this one, there's 2 different things you can get. You'll see she's kind of drawing power to herself. It's like orange glow. You can either get that, or you'll see like sphere ball things around her. So that one is the spread. And this one is a line AoE from her. Kind of like in the first phase. It's also a wild charge. So basically all of us are just going to stand here behind the boss, and the tank is just going to stand in front of the front of the beam. So he'll just basically face the ad at the main boss, and we just stand here, and it'll just get resolved. I think some raid plans actually have somebody go to the outside, because she actually shoots every tank, all 6 tanks. So these guys are actually grouping up over here too, and we've got 5 people. I think they actually send one of these people over to help them soak. But I don't think anybody in this group did it. But this one's the line AoE. So it just goes pew, and we take a bunch of damage. There it is. Our tank actually dies. I'm not sure why. Maybe he didn't mit. So there's a couple things to pay attention to here. There's a bunch going on here, but let's just break it down a little bit. So right after that line AoE, the boss is going to get those like spinning things that you have to look at, which as an outside party is pretty easy. This just basically means she's going to spawn a moving laser beam on the east-west, and it's either going to go south rotating or north rotating. So in this case, since it's counterclockwise, that means it's going to go to my right. That means I want to go north to not get hit by it. At the same time, these ads are channeling either core lateral phaser or lateral core phaser. And basically whatever the first word is in the cast bar is what you need to do first. So in this case, core means you want to stand directly in front of her. If it was lateral, you want to stand basically not in front of her, off to the side. And I'll try and pause it just to show where the hits are. But in this case, it's pretty easy. I think core is the easier one. So there's like a line here down the middle of the platform. You can just basically stand on this line and you'll be fine. And since it's core first, it's actually even easier because I can literally just run straight north after the first one. If it was the other iteration, I would have to like stand here, then move in front of her for the second hit, and then run north. So this is the easiest one you can get. She's gonna jump to the wall. So here's the core. You'll see the hit. So, oh, I did not pause as I wanted to pause. I should probably have slowed it down. Okay, so you'll see there's like the cone. This is the safe cone directly in front of her. And then you need to move into the other one. It's actually really quick, to be honest. You move lateral of her, and yeah, so there's the other cone. It's really not a great angle, but if you saw where the safe spot was on the first one, that's just the area she hits on the second one. So this was the easy iteration. And now we're just gonna run all the way north. I usually just go like in front of this portal, just like we did with Cross. There's the laser beam, and you're gonna see it just keeps going. It's rotating. It's gonna go all the way until north-south. It's really not that hard to pay attention to or deal with as an outside party. And you'll saw more gazes went off there as well. I think that's actually the last set of gazes go off there. And this is pretty much the end of this phase. Well, no, it's swap. So in this raid plan, they just the main thing is you want the healer, the tank, and whoever their swap or whoever else is going with them to be the farthest away from everybody else. So you'll notice the other 3 DPS are here in like towards the wall, and us 3 are the farthest away towards the outside of the arena. So us 3 are gonna go get swapped to the same spot together. This is also a raid wide. I'd maybe recommend casting Medica here before you get swapped. I don't think I managed it in my 2-minute, because this is a 2-minute and it's really nasty, especially when my pot's up too. It's gross. Honestly, this is probably the trickiest part of the fight for me, just because I'm usually, this time I was in PF like basically completely. It was just me and Lala, but so I couldn't really like tell these guys, hey, I'm gonna reset my platform, because the thing to think about is if you stand on one of these platforms for too long, it's gonna change color and basically say, hey, you're about to fall and you have to reset yourself. And if you're like the outside person, I mean, you can just go left or right. You're not gonna like run into anybody. If these guys want to reset their platforms, you know, what if they try to do it at the same time? That's the only thing I'm a little weary on. But I'm sure people will figure out like timings or who should do what when kind of things. It kind of comes down to just kind of keep an eye on your other 2 buddies here. So there will be mechanics going on during this. And that kind of just means us 3 need to juggle around between who's basically tucked in the corner and who's out here exposed. So let's just kind of go through it. We do need to get people healed up. There will be towers again. The people outside are kind of doing what happened at the beginning of this phase. This is all basically just a repeat. It's all a repeat of stuff we've already done. There's nothing new here. It's just if you're used to doing all of the outside mechanics, now you're gonna get all the inside mechanics. Let's just keep going here a little bit. This was actually the first time I started on the outside, but it's okay. I was kind of playing it pretty safe here. These are towers. This is actually really easy because you need 2 people in one and 1 person in another. So generally somebody will have to adjust. In this case, nobody did have to adjust. It's literally just the tank moves out and helps me soak this one. You could get a situation where, say the tank was here and I was here. In that case, I think I think people are gonna have a priority system of who moves first. I don't know what the priority system is yet. In our group, when I was doing this with our 3-man that would always playing together, I would be the one to move first and the tank would move in. I'm not sure what PF is settled on yet, so I don't really have a good recommendation here, but we got one where there's no thinking involved. The tank just moves out and helps me soak this one. Tanks should be tank LB3 in this, just for safety, to make sure you get through this. No towers exploded, but we did tank LB3. This is a raid wide right after. That guy he messed up something. So the next mechanic is going to be it should be one person in each set of 3 is gonna get those, like, you know that little debuff that appears under you that means there's gonna be something chasing you and you need to run for your life. Well, one of us is gonna get that. So I'm actually moving over to the right here because all of the people that are getting chased are gonna want to go clockwise. So I want to be out of the way of either of my partners because any 3 of us can get it. I want this path to be open, so I moved over here to be out of the way. Now we're waiting for that to appear. It's actually on the tank. Something I would recommend I don't see a lot of people do, if you can, stay towards the side. If you're tucked in one of these corners, stay to the side to give someone's gonna have to take your spot and get out of the way. So I'm gonna have to move because people are gonna be coming this way, and if we're on the same tile, we fall and die. So I have to move my butt. I don't want to get hit by his though. If I get hit by it, I get hit by it because it's more important that I get out of the way. Like, just take the damage down if you have to and don't kill people. But if these people just hugged like the top of the wall, there would be room for me to scoot in here without getting hit. I think I don't get hit here, but just as a recommendation, if you can try to remember, try to be on like the side. So like if he got it, I could just like sneak around this way. But the tank gets it, so he needs to start moving his ass. I have to wait for him, and then I take his spot. There goes my co-healer getting chased by a laser beam. I don't think PF has settled on once the laser beam's done chasing you. Some people just have those people just keep rotating, do a full loop and all the way back until they're with their team. I think some people prefer just to turn around and go back to their group. I don't know what PF has settled on, if anything. I think they do. Yeah, it looks like he did a full loop. He did a full loop around the boss and comes all the way back. So this is gonna be, I think the next mechanic is the cross or donut, except we're inside this time, which means just a little bit trickier placement inside. So this is a circle. So I'm letting him move in, and then I move in. So all 3 of us need to be close to the boss, so we have to use these 3 squares, like the top halves of them, to be near the boss. The other one you can get is the cross one, which is basically the opposite. We all 3 want to be as far away as possible. So like I would be in this corner here. There'd be somebody like here at the bottom of the square I'm currently in, and then this guy would be here. So it's kind of just a use your eyes. Like, I knew he needed to be all the way over here, so I just waited for him to move, and I moved last. Because that made sense. So us are all close. You actually can see this red tether that's getting to me right here. That's actually one of those ads spawned on the outside, draining my HP right now. Nobody's killed that ad, so that ad needs to die. So you see me taking like a 20k tick. That's the ad draining me. And I think that's pretty much it for this phase. Oh, this is spread. So these are the orbs. If you haven't seen what the orbs look like yet, you just spread out. I didn't actually quite know where to go. I don't think it really mattered outside. That guy got double hit, so he died. I'm not really sure why he got double hit. But something to think about. I'm taking auto attacks here, you'll notice, so I kind of like panic bending myself. I'm getting hit by the boss for like 50k because the tank is dead. If you res somebody on the inside, you want to make sure that you move after you res them. Because if I'm going to res him on this tile, I don't want to be on this tile when he pops up. So we should see that. I res him and then I take his spot. Oh, my ranged is dying from auto attacks. I saved him. I am the best player in the world. But yeah, see how I gave him my tile and I took his. Raid wide, you'll saw that the boss took like 4 or 48 million? I think that's 48 million damage. So that's the damage that people have been doing to the 2 ads the whole time has been done to the boss. And if you get to this, it goes back to the original platform. The boss is preferably around this percent. It's a kill. Like there's nothing new at this point in the fight. It's gonna do another raid wide. We want to kind of get close to the boss again because she is gonna do the smaller platform. This is literally a repeat of like the phase 1, phase 2 thing. So like if you're at this percent and you get back here, grats on your kill. There is absolutely not a single new mechanic here. It's really just a panic check at this point. So you'll see the hand, I'm getting the backhand this time. I was tethered first. I'll be moving back just like last time. This is the push. I don't look because, I mean, I don't care. I already know which one I am. Like, if you just look at the first one, you know what the second one is, so. Not much to say. This is the dodges again. Maybe we'll get something different. We get flare this time. We get a flare right after dodging all the lasers. Like, the order of operations will probably be a little different because, like I said, all of these are completely random. I think the only mechanic we haven't actually seen is this and break. So this is the healer stacks. As Group A, we just move to the left. Blade, this is the one we did not see at the beginning of the fight. This is one of the ones she can do, one of the three things. She holds up these two blades in front of her, and this is an out. In this case, it's a big out. So, like, a little bit towards this square here in the back. People are doing their death things. The boss is storing the death ones. You'll actually get to see the death one this time. That's nice. We get to see some... Oh, there's a doom. So I cleanse that guy. He's got a damage down. It's a 30-second damage down. That guy messed up and almost hit me, but it's okay. Don't hit your friends. Break. So break is a look away. It's a gaze. It's not just a look away from the boss. It's also a look away from two different ads that spawn. Basically, if the ads don't spawn in whichever direction you default to looking away from, you're fine. But there could be an ad that spawns here, and then I'd need to make sure I'm looking not at that and the boss. So I'd have to like look this way or look in between them or something. But this is a pretty easy one. So look away, because you'll see it actually went off 3 times. Blade of Darkness, this will be the knockback prevention use that I'm going to do. So I'm going to move under her hand, I'm going to hit knockback immunity here. She stored death, so there's the death orb. You see the telegraph, and then you move into it. And then we dodge again. And that's it. Boss is at 7%. It's time for me to do my back. So I had back, so I'm going to look out and then walk backwards. So actually do it kind of like pretty standard way there. Death again, so run out. We get sucked in. Wait, go in. And I think this is Enrage, actually. Yep, that's the Enrage cast. Pump, pump, pump. And there we go. That's a kill. That was a kill for a lot of people. And that's pretty much everything. That's the perspective of A side anyway. If you did C side as a H1 healer, it would literally just be a mirror of what we did here. Like an actual mirror, like you draw a line down the middle of the arena. You just do everything flipped. If you're H2, it's going to be obviously quite a bit different, because you'll be on the inside for the whole beginning of the fight, and then you'll get swapped outside. And if you're a B healer, you would also be in the middle. So the fight will also be quite a bit different. But this would work as an H1 perspective for Alliance A or Alliance C, with either of these kind of like regular raid plan strats. Obviously things might change in the future in PF or whatever. But I hope that was helpful. And it was kind of fun just yapping about it. Bye!